The Elm Hill City Zoo is back, and today we'll build a mixed species habitat for 3 different African animals: the Sable Antelope, the common Ostrich, and the Springbok. It is so nice to be finally back to the African section of our zoo. We'll also talk a bit more about the plans for the rest of this series. I hope you guys will enjoy today's episode. Hello guys, this is Cesar Creates and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since the last episode of the Elm Hill City Zoo and I'll explain why in a second. Today we'll also talk a bit about the plans for the future of the series, so definitely stay tuned. But firstly, let's talk about our builds today and everything that we'll add to the zoo in this episode. So the plan for today is to build a mixed species habitat in the African section of our zoo. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the African section we had this whole area with those white buildings inspired by the North African architecture and the Berlin Zoo. And today we are adding the last enclosure to this entire section, the last enclosure with this white building that will sort of complete this whole section. And finally, we won't have this basically nothing, an empty gap in front of the Goodwin Center and the African leopard habitat. This habitat will be also situated between the Dama gazelle habitat and the Addax enclosure. I will try to add some cinematic shots showing this whole area at the end of this video so it will all make sense. And the habitat that we are building today is for 3 different species: the Sable Antelope, the common Ostrich, and the Springbok. And I know that the Springbok was just announced for Planet Zoo 2, the new model has been showcased in the Zoopedia for Planet Zoo 2. And this is a total coincidence because I started to build this habitat before the Springbok was announced, but the comparison between those 2 models is just crazy. Like, the new Springbok from Planet Zoo 2 looks so beautiful and so much more like textured and detailed compared to the Springbok for Planet Zoo 1. I just cannot wait for Planet Zoo 2. Okay, so the concept for this habitat is to build like a typical city zoo habitat for the ungulates. This won't be a massive, very spacious enclosure because city zoos are normally on a budget when it comes to space. But in the end, I still think that this habitat is quite big for all those animals. They all have their own space, they all can move around and go everywhere they want. This habitat will have a dry moat, and this is what I am working on right now, or just a high wall that is high enough, hopefully, to stop the animals from jumping out of this enclosure. I've done something like this for many ungulate habitats. I also took this dry moat idea from the Dama gazelle habitat, and I think that it is strictly inspired by my visit to the Tierpark Berlin and one of their enclosures, if I remember correctly. I really like those kinds of habitats because there is no fence between the animals and the guests, so you get this amazing view. And adding all this greenery like I do right now on this moat kind of helps it to blend with the actual habitat, so you don't see the actual barrier, and from the distance it kind of looks like the animals are not enclosed, like they are in the open space. Also, adding a lot of green things and a lot of plants around the habitat helps it to make the habitat look more green, because the kinds of animals that we are building for today would simply eat all the plants inside of the habitats, and this is also something that we'll keep in mind today while building it. It won't be very green, there will be some plants in some nooks and crevices, but overall this habitat will be a bit more like sandy, and there will be a lot of dirt, just like a regular ungulate habitat that you would see in a city zoo. This habitat is pretty long and narrow, so adding all those plants and creating this moat probably took me the most time when it comes to building this all. Also, the shelter that you'll see at the end of this speed build also took some time. But it was inspired by the shelters that I already built in this area, so it wasn't that difficult, but it definitely took some time, especially that I did the entire interior, so there's stalls as well, there's some keeper stuff, and those things always take some time to build. Now, why am I so randomly back to building the African section of the Elm Hill City Zoo where we were working on something else in the past? And why you guys had to wait for this episode quite a long time? So believe me or not, but my save file issues when it comes to the zoo are back. I built basically almost the entire, it was more than a half for sure, habitat for the takins in our Mountains of Asia section. It was a really nice habitat inspired by Pyridiza, and then the game crashed and I couldn't load into the save file anymore. Perfect. So I lost all that, I lost the habitat, I lost all this time, and my theory that there is a certain limit of, I don't know, objects, building pieces or anything like that when it comes to this save file is just true because, again, we added some habitats, we added the one for the red pandas, for the pigs and so on, and then while adding another habitat on top of that for the takins, the game just stopped working and the file is sort of like corrupted because I cannot open it anymore. I didn't want to finish the series like that, so I decided to go back to one of the older save files, have a look at the zoo, what else I can finish, and I decided to build this habitat today, and I'm quite happy that I did because I think that it has turned out really beautifully in the end. Yeah, but this unfortunately means that I won't be able to finish probably most of the parts of the Elm Hill City Zoo. I will probably just, you know, build some random habitats here and there before Planet Zoo 2 is released. It was hard, but I made peace with that. Also, it's summer, so I was traveling, I had some trips with my friends and so on, so that's why I couldn't play this game simply. And one of those trips unfortunately ended up with me being sick, so I again had some sinus problems. You can still probably hear that my voice is not completely back to normal, but yeah, recording was really hard. I tried to record some videos with the news for Planet Zoo 2 and it was very difficult. I had to take like pauses after every sentence because I was coughing and I was sneezing and it was so bad. So all of that, and on top of that, all the news about Planet Zoo 2 and everything that Frontier has been sending my way to cover on my channel, it also takes so much time to record those videos because I simply want to make them look nice for you guys. I know that they are probably not the most popular out here on YouTube, but I still want to make them nice so you know that every time you will open one of my videos, you will just get this nicely condensed information about all the news with some nice visuals. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying them because I really enjoy making them actually, and all the news about Planet Zoo 2 are simply so exciting. I'm so hyped for this game. As I told you, I was a bit hesitant at the beginning because I thought that maybe we don't need Planet Zoo 2 yet, but I completely changed my mind because Planet Zoo 2 will be such an incredible game. Still, I didn't have a chance to talk more about me actually visiting Frontier in March and seeing Planet Zoo 2. I cannot talk a lot about this, but I can tell you that it was one of the best days of my life. It was so amazing to, you know, to be able to have this opportunity and to see the sequel to my favorite game ever before everyone else, basically. And it was such a magical thing to see the game in action, to see the gameplay, and also to be able to give feedback to Frontier about everything that I would like to see in this game and everything that I think could be improved. That was so amazing. And also meeting other creators was also so fun. They are all so nice. So I still cannot believe that this happened, and I hope that we'll have more opportunities to meet in the future. Who knows? So now let's briefly talk about the plans for this series, given that I have an obvious issues with this file. Again, I told you that I will probably do some random enclosures here and then for the animals that I always wanted to see in this zoo. So probably sometimes it won't make any sense when it comes to the placement of those habitats in the zoo, but there are still so many animals that I would love to see here. And this is where you come to play because I want to involve you guys in it. So starting from the next episode, before each episode, I will do a little poll on my community wall here on YouTube with 4 possible animals that you guys will be able to vote for the next episode of the Elm Hill City Zoo. So you will be able to decide which animals will be added here. I don't know how many episodes there's left given my schedule and given not much time when it comes to release of Planet Zoo 2. We still have like, what, 2 or 3 months? But I definitely still want to add some new animals in here and you will be able to decide. So keep your eyes open and keep them on my community wall. And when you'll see this poll, definitely make sure to vote for your favorites because as I told you, there's not many episodes left, probably like 4 or 5 maybe. So those choices will really matter when it comes to the animals that you would like to see. Also, let me know down in the comments what are the animals that you would like to still see in this series. Maybe I will consider those choices when it comes to the pool. I think each time I'll do like make 4 different options for the animals. I already have some ideas, but maybe you'll be able to convince me to change them or to add some other animals. We will see. But let's go back to our habitat today. You can see that I am still working on this moat. I am still adding some different details. I also added this hot wire that is meant to prevent the animals to coming too close to the wall. I know that the Springboks can jump pretty high and can jump like up to 2 meters, so I wanted to make sure that the animals won't be able to escape. I don't know about the Sable Antelope, but it is a pretty large antelope, so maybe it could also jump out. I don't know, but I just prefer to add this hot wire. And I also did it for the Dama Gazelles back then, so it just continued it here. Those are all the base game animals, the Ostrich, the Sable Antelope and the Springbok. I think from them all, the Springbok model is the best, but I am not sure. Like the Springbok was already also announced for Planet Zoo 2, as we already talked about this. I am pretty sure that they also should include the Ostrich. It kind of, to me, feels like a very base game animal, very zoo staple animal. That should be included. The Sable Antelope, I am not sure about this. Maybe it will be included, maybe not. There's so many more popular zoo antelopes that also could be included in the base game of Planet Zoo 2. I hope that you guys are all okay already with the fact that Planet Zoo 2 won't launch with all the animals from Planet Zoo 1 and all the animals from DLC, because I have seen so many people talk about this and complain that they should give us all the 210 animals and on top of that all the birds and aquatics. But please, let's be realistic in here. I don't think that it will ever happen. I think that we'll have to sacrifice some animals from Planet Zoo. Maybe they will return with some free updates, who knows, maybe in some DLCs. I know that people won't like it, potentially, but yeah, I don't think that we'll be getting, I don't know, 300 animals at launch of this game. This is simply impossible. So the Sable Antelope feels to me like an animal that could be at risk. I would love to see a remodel of that, because I don't think that the model from Planet Zoo 1 is the best. I mean, the male kind of looks okay, although from the distance it kind of looks like plasticky or something. The female is kind of worse, but still this animal could be so much better. The same comes to Ostrich. I think that with the new like fur shader, I cannot pronounce this. Fur shader, shader. I don't know. This new thing for fur and feathers in Planet Zoo 2. I think that it could look so much better. So I cannot wait to see the model of the Ostrich, because I'm again pretty sure that it will be included in Planet Zoo 2, and it will be so funny if I would be wrong, but let's hope not. So now it is time to add all the details to this enclosure. So we will add a lot of those rock piles, so also smaller rock piles. I also wanted to have some rocks like being exposed. When there's a habitat with a bit more elevation, I always like to add those like rocks that are sticking out of the terrain, because it adds like nice textures. And I really like this detail about this enclosure. Also, when it comes to those rock piles, it kind of looks like the rock piles in Planet Zoo 2 will be kind of pre-made already for us, so that will be so amazing, because I really like the look of them. I am placing a lot of them, if you still haven't noticed, and I'm sure that it takes a lot when it comes to performance and all this stuff, because there's a lot of small pieces that I am adding to the enclosure. And probably this is also the reason why I have some issues with this save pile, which to me again is so weird, because the performance in this zoo is really good. Like it's not laggy. I'm building in it like without any problems. Maybe if I will just unpause the game in a very like dense or very like place where there's a lot of things going on, it will get slightly laggy, but it is not that bad. So I'm very confused why this game is crashing, why the save file is not working. Desert Adventure Park is lagging so much more. This is weird. I wish it didn't happen, but it did. I don't think Frontier will do anything about this because they are busy with Planet Zoo 2, so we just have to live with it. So I also added some enrichment items, some implied feeders. I also added a lot of decals on the surface of the entire habitat just to make the textures look more interesting, just to add some like sand, dirt everywhere. And then it was time to build a shelter for the animals. It will have 3 different entrances. I was thinking about this being for 3 different species of animals. The middle one will be the biggest. It will be for the ostrich, or maybe not the biggest, but the tallest, because they definitely need more space to be able to actually go inside. I really hope that this will be fixed in Planet Zoo 2. We still don't have any like official confirmation, but looking at all the things, all the videos that they are showcasing, I think that the animals are just moving like a bit better through the habitats. I mean, they are moving very closely to the rocks or just going on the rocks, so I hope that we'll be able to make smaller entrances to buildings for them in Planet Zoo 2. This building again is a bit inspired by Berlin Zoo. They have those very beautiful buildings in there for animals like zebras, like for elands. So yeah, I really love those buildings. I saw a lot of players actually recreating them because this is one of the fanciest ungulates like stables or buildings that I have seen in any of the zoos. Normally those buildings are very like generic. This is just a stable or just a wooden barn or anything like that. And in Berlin Zoo you have those like very fancy white buildings with the towers, with the ornaments and everything like this. So I really wanted to have this here in the zoo, and I wanted to go even further and build the entire section based on that, and you will be able to see how good it will look in the end of this video when I will do the cinematic shots. I'm actually very happy that I went back to this habitat and finished this entire section, because now the zoo kind of looks more finished in the end. And also, we don't have this big empty space in front of the Goodwin Center anymore. It is all filled with this habitat, so it right away looks so much better. Now that I think about it, I am very excited about this idea of the pool and you guys deciding which animal we'll be adding next to the Elm Hill City Zoo. I always went to the zoo with a plan. I knew which animals I wanted to have where. I knew which, more or less, animals I will be adding one after another. Of course, it changed a bit because of my save file issues, but right now I'm going in without any plan, and this will be super spontaneous, and I'm quite excited for it. Next episode, when it comes to the Planet Zoo, will be the Desert Adventure Park. We'll add another habitat to our Safari Desert ride, and then I will be back to Elm Hill City Zoo to build the habitat that you guys will decide on, so keep your eyes on that. We are done with the speed builds portion of this video, so I will meet you guys in a second in the cinematic shots to show you everything that we've built in today's episode. So here is the finished mixed species African habitat here at the Elm Hill City Zoo. I think that the Sable Antelope, Ostriches and Springbok look fantastic together, and I am really happy with how this enclosure has turned out. It is exactly the kind of classic city zoo ungulate habitat I was aiming for, and it blends perfectly with all the surrounding habitats. I am also absolutely obsessed with this view towards the Goodwin Center. The dry moat filled with all those plants turned out exactly as I imagined, and I can easily picture myself standing here just watching the animals for ages. The shelter isn't based on any real-life inspiration, it was completely my own design. I simply wanted to match the style of all the shelters that we've built in this part of the zoo, and I think it turned out pretty well. I am so glad to see the African section of our Elm Hill City Zoo almost being finished. There aren't many animals that I still wanted to add to it, and some of them will be actually included in the polls that you guys will be able to vote for the future episodes of this series, so keep your eyes on the community wall of the channel. It was also really fun building for these original Planet Zoo base game species, especially knowing that we'll soon have their upgraded versions to work with in Planet Zoo 2. Anyway, that is all that I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this speed build. Finally a speed build video on my channel. If you did, please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video like this, give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and of course leave me a comment and tell me what you think about this new habitat in the Elm Hill City Zoo. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!